But if you have, keep a block by the side of your mat, this might come in useful as a general support. I will place that down to the side just for now, and we will begin lying down on the back. So when you're ready, please find your way down to lie on the back. And you can choose basically any position that provides you with reasonable comfort, yet it is maybe more so a connection to your body than it is a letting go, which we do at the end of the class. So for that reason, you might also choose a reclined bound ankle pose, which is to bend your knees and let the knees roll out, allowing the soles of the feet to touch together. You could then support that underneath the knees or the legs if it is a little bit stronger, feeling around the hip opening. And if you enjoy your position or found one that feels quite comfortable, you might also choose to close your eyes or steady your gaze against the ceiling. Sometimes when we show up for practice, there's obvious things that need adjustment in the practice. And sometimes we share these things before the class. So for anyone who practices from video recordings, keep in mind that this chat internally might want to happen for you too. And right at this point is a good opportunity to have another check-in. Is that what you shared with self or others? All that is going on for you right now? Just being honest, not looking for trouble, but looking for guidance within your body and your mind, of course, as well, whatever is going on there. As you begin to connect more deeply to your being as a whole, please also be aware that there's a breath that could be your anchoring point for the mind, as the breath keeps moving in and out of your nose. So as your breath is moving gently in and out of your nostrils, begin to change this breath. Change it so that with each breath, you're starting to engage into the three-part breathing, moving your breath up from your belly to the ribs and then to the collarbones, and back out from your abdomen to the ribs and to the collarbones. Let the breath flow like this smoothly. While it moves through the three parts, it's still one big breath in and out. An encouragement to use, if that's right for you, a light constriction in the back of the throat, guiding you towards the Ujjayi technique, a victorious breath. When we narrow down the air passage in the back of the throat, there's a hissing sound, an oceanic sound created that will then accompany the practice. Keeping yourself breathing deeply, belly, ribs to collarbones, in and out of the nose. This breath that you are practicing now, let this breath stay with you. Stay with you in the sense of leaving it flowing in and out of the nostrils in that same pattern, maybe even with the light constriction in the back of the throat. If your knees are falling out to the sides now, as you next breathe in, let your knees come up or help them there. Let your feet wiggle down to about hip distance apart, allowing you a comfortable, relaxed position for your back and spine. Bringing then the right knee over the chest and an option to take a hold of the knee and squeeze it a little bit in towards the chest. Noticing sensations in the rest of the body and the option of sliding your left leg out. Maybe if you do, flexing through the left foot to actively ground the leg to the mat as you hug your knee in. On your next inhale, extend your right leg, change the hold behind the leg, flex the foot, And with the out breath, draw the straight leg up towards your body and just pausing here for a moment. Noticing eventually that there's tightness in your back line, even in the back of the leg, the calf, the hamstring. And you might increase that stretch by simply pushing the heel a little bit further up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, bend your knee, take a different hold to hug the knee in. As you exhale, you might lift your nose up towards the knee. Breathing in to lie back down. Breathing out to extend the leg, flex the foot and hug the leg in. Inhale, bend the knee, change the grip, hug the knee. Exhale, maybe nose towards the knee. Inhale, lying back down, extending the leg. As you breathe out, flex the foot and draw the leg in towards your body. Last round, as you bend your knee, breathe in, draw the knee up. As you breathe out, maybe the nose towards the knee. Releasing the head as you inhale, extend the leg up as you exhale and draw the leg in towards your body. Leave it here as a little hold, maybe encourage the heel back up towards the ceiling or the sky. And then gently begin to bend the knee, release your arms down by the sides, embrace your lower abdominal and think you could draw that to your tailbone, then point your right foot and in slow motion, tapping the toes down using inner stability, no other movement. Once the toes have tapped down, let your foot slowly ground all the way down to the heel of the foot. Relax the body for a moment. And then bring your left knee up towards your chest. Maybe take a hold of the knee and hug it in towards your body, noticing how it feels on this side. And the option of sliding the right leg out. And if you do, you might choose to actively flex the foot. That sensation of grounding down towards the mat. So keeping your knee drawn in towards the body. As you might inhale, extending your leg up and changing the grip to behind the leg. Beginning to flex the foot as you hold the leg straight, draw it up towards your body here. Pausing there, noticing how this side might feel a bit different in the tension or the release. And you might encourage the heel actively up toward the ceiling. Maybe noticing that in one leg, the tension sits quite differently. Maybe one is a little bit more flexible than the other. Then inhale, bend your knee, take a hold again. Breathe out, and as you hug the knee, and you might like to lift your nose towards the knee. On your in-breath, lie back down. Extend and change the grip as you breathe out. The foot is flexed. We're hugging the leg in towards the body. Inhaling, bend the knee, change the grip. Option, hug knee in and nose to knee. Inhale, lying back. Change again as you extend, flex the foot and draw the leg up towards the body on the out breath. We'll go for another round on the inhale. Bend knee, change grip. Hug option, nose to knee. Inhaling as you lie back, extending again, and as you breathe out, drawing the leg in and pausing here again. Now gently bending the knee and pointing the foot, letting your arms come down by your side. Engaging once more as if you could draw your lower abdomen down to the tailbone, holding that tension as you exhale, and in slow motion, lowering your left toes down onto the ground. Once your toes have landed, landing the foot as you slowly roll the sole down to land all the way down to the heel of this foot. You might then step your right foot up onto the ground as well, Let your arms gently roll out towards the sides. And you might also like to lift your feet and bring the knees towards the chest, whereas the option could be to leave the feet grounded. Letting your knees move towards the right armpit as you exhale. And then circle them around as you inhale and draw them up to the left armpit on your out breath. So the inhale is a little swing, the out breath is a tuck of the knees towards the armpit. Let that flow for a few more, maybe noticing how not only your spine is engaging here in a light twist, but also your core muscles becoming more alert. When you completed this round, being balanced to each side, bring knees back to center. You might like to give both knees a hug in, or even lift your nose up to the knees in an out breath. You could then lower the head and roll a bit from side to side. This is where your body is feeling comfortable. Roll to your favorite side and join me in a seat. Or you might like to rock a few times forward and back, allowing a massage across the length of the spine and then coming into a seated position. Now, this might be a good opportunity to grab a block if you prefer to sit flat on the ground, and that is with little effort possible. Why not? I've chosen to sit on a block. You could also use a cushion, a folded blanket, or a leg. Maybe placing the hands down where they feel comfortable. There's an opportunity to trust my voice and your inner understanding by closing the eyes. And the only thing I'd ask you to do is begin to circle your upper body. Try to let that flow be fluent, as if you're surrendering to the movement. Allowing your body now to guide the mind, to keep the mind in the practice. If the bodily distractions aren't your main focus, you may always return to your breath. But here there's a lot of movement, and you might be able to isolate a shoulder or two as you're rolling over the sides of the body. As you've spiraled these circles back inwards, maybe there's a belly dance like movement around your waistline to finish in a small circle, lifting yourself right and tall. Now it's really depending on which leg you have in front. That side, place the fingertips down to the ground by your side. And if you can, take a breath in and lift the opposite arm up. And then breathe out and enter a side bend. Finding the length through the side body. If your arm is lifted, try to turn the palm to face towards the floor for optimal shoulder positioning. Keeping both sides of the sitting bones grounded. And if your arm that you're leaning towards is stiff, notice that you're working into a resistance. Soften that arm and see how the posture changes. Then let's roll that arm and shoulder in, curling up through the spine back to a seated position and changing the foot that you placed in front. Hands might rest back against knees or thighs, regaining an upright seated position and maybe closing the eyes again if that's comfortable for you. Notice your tendency to circle in the same direction and choose the opposite. You can spiral out again if that feels right. Maybe that movement becomes larger too. And you might be able to just roll a shoulder or two as well. Again, let that movement come back inwards. And maybe we're ending again with that little circle around our waistline before pausing an upright seat in the spine. The leg is in front, that hand drops down to the mat. And if okay for you, the other arm reaches up on the inhale. And then we're coming into a side bend on the elbows. As we lean to the side, turn the palm to face to the floor to adjust the shoulder position. And if the arm that you're leaning into is really stiff, bring a soft bend in it and see what happens. At the same time, the both sitting bones are on the floor, grounded. Taking a deep, full inhalation and exhalation. And for your next out breath, rolling the posture back in, rounding up through the spine once more as you're lifting the body, and maybe removing the block, but keeping it by the side of the mat or within reach. You might like to come to your mat facing the long side, just like myself, and stepping onto all fours. I've got my hands away from the mat or in front of the mat, but they're still at shoulder distance apart. The knees are underneath the hips at this point. For a simple cat and cow movement, take a breath in, let your tail rise, your gaze lift. And with the breath out, then rounding your spine. Let get go for a few more breaths. Inhaling, Vidalasana, cat and cow. On the exhale, rounding into the cat. Inhaling, tail and gaze are lifting. Out breath, rounding through the spine. Go for another. And finding your spine in a more neutral position. Shifting a little bit of weight over into the left knee. And take a breath in to lift your right knee out to the side, dog against the tree. As you exhale, squeeze the knee to the shoulder. On the inhale, bring it back. Keep the knee open. Exhale, squeeze it to the shoulder. Just one more time. Breath in and a breath out to squeeze the knee to the shoulder. When you next inhale, extend this right leg out onto the mat. Grounding the foot squared off with your toes facing forward. The whole leg is placed in line with the hip. So straight out towards your side. On your next exhalation, round up the spine to lift your torso. For the alignment, have your hip directly over your knee. Please adjust if that isn't the case. Turning the palms of both hands to face upward, cushioning underneath the knee is an option if you need any. Both arms lifting out to about shoulder height, the palms facing up. Let your shoulders be soft. Breathing in. On the out breath, tilt over towards the extended leg. Let the back of your right hand rest against the leg. The palm again is facing downwards in the side bend. So the same shoulder position as in the seated side bend. If this feels right, you can take your right hand and take a hold of your left wrist, increasing maybe the stretch into the side of the body. Noticing how the side stretch is working for you as you inhale. You might then lift the sole of the foot, flex the foot, and turn towards the extended leg on an out breath. Still your arm over the head or the hand on the wrist. As you inhale, open back into the gate, grounding your foot, the side bend. On the exhale, turning as you lift the foot and flex it, folding towards the extended leg. So on the inhale, toes are pointing forward, but opening up into the gate. With the exhale, leaning towards the extended leg. Let's keep that flowing again. Inhaling, open to your side. Exhaling for a stretch. And do hold your balance. Don't close the eyes as myself as you take a breath in. Opening into the last time on the gate on this side. As you breathe out, now release any wrists and holds of arms. You might like to land them down onto the mat. You can even align your back foot. Keeping the right foot in a flexion, lean down with your nose towards the knee, like a half Hanuman position. Deeper stretch into the back of the leg as you breathe out to lower. On the next breath in, bring a bend into your right knee, land on the sole of the foot and launch a little bit forward, finding some length here like in Anjaneyasana. If it's right for you to hold this position, you may lift your torso and raise your arms. Careful here to lightly engage your lower abs so that the lower back is supported. Anjaneyasana, also called Ashvasanchalanasana, the horse rider. As you take a breath in there, with the exhale, let both hands land to the inside of your front foot. Walk the hands back to align in your all-four stance. Bring the right knee back onto the mat. So returning to all fours, hands again shoulder distant, knees at hip distant. Do a few more cats and cows. As you inhale, let your elbows soften, raise your tail and gaze. With the elbows, straighten your arms and round into the back. Keep that flowing with your pace, surrendering to that simple movement guided by your own breathing. When you next come to a breath in, simply neutralize your spine, returning to your all-four stance. And on your next breath, lifting your left leg out to the side, knee bend. Keep arms strong and breathe out, squeeze your knee to your shoulder. Inhale, take it back to the open. Exhale, squeeze the knee to the shoulder. And one more time, inhale. And exhale, squeeze it to the shoulder. As you now inhale, straighten the leg out onto the mat. Ground your foot with the toes pointing forward. And then roll up through the spine. So again, your alignment is your hip is placed over the knee. The other leg is extended straight from the hip. And the toes of the leg are facing forward. So that's alignment for healthy knees and hips. You make modifications if you require them. Cushioning might be nice, or a bend somewhere. Let's take a breath in, turning the palms upwards, raise both arms. Both arms are coming out towards the sides. Shoulders are rather soft here, feeling stable as you inhale. And with the exhale, turning into a side bend where the back of the hand rests towards your left leg. The other arm, if extended, you might have that over the head. Palm of the hand and facing downwards. So once more, the reminder for you, you can move both of your arms, but maybe careful with the issues in your body. An option now to take a hold of the wrist here. If your arm is extended over the head, you might take a hold of the wrist, increasing your side bend, but keep your shoulder back so it stays with the side body for now. With your next out breath, lifting the sole of the foot, flex it and turn towards your extended leg. Then with the inhale, open yourself back into your side bend or parikasana. On your out breath, turn your body, leaning to your leg. On the inhale, reopening to gate. So your movement pace is your breath as you exhale to stretch to the extended leg. And as you inhale, opening to gate pose. Breath out to the leg. We'll go for one more round. Inhaling to open to parik. And as you exhale to lean in, You might release your hands now, framing the leg that you're leaning towards. You may even adjust the back leg, keeping the foot in a flexion, leaning your nose towards the knee. Ardha Hanumanasana of Monkey God Pose. As you notice that there's still potential to lengthen the back of the legs, maybe more. On your next inhalation, bending into your front knee and leaning towards a kneeling lunge. Option is to let the hips lean forward here for a little stretch. And the other option is to raise both arms up and lift the torso as you breathe in. Finding the length in the body. Another kneeling lunge position. Inhale. This time, as you breathe out, please place the hands to frame your front foot, drawing the back toes under to lift the knee, and then stepping the foot towards the front side of the mat. Please align the outer edges of the feet to be parallel, and then exhale to roll up through the spine, a vertebra at a time, exploring your range of movement as you are lifting up slowly. You stand at the front end of the mat, give the shoulders a shrug, maybe turning the palms forward as you ground yourself in a mountain stance. On your next inhalation, lifting your arms up, extending the body and the fingertips to the sky. Then draw the palms together as you exhale and begin to fold your body forward and down. On the in-breath, a half lift, lengthening the spine to the front. With the out-breath now, stepping your left foot back into a deep lunge. Then ground the heel to the mat. The heel of the foot is a little bit further out than the big toes. The hands might come between the legs, and we're allowing a little flow here, a loosening up. You may sway completely, hands off the mat. You might keep your fingertips down. Just move through the body. Legs can bend and sway too. Now, if you kept your stance, ground as you inhale and let the upper body hang down. So back foot still in an angle, front foot toes pointing forward. Then breathe out and roll up through the spine into a standing position. On the inhale, let both arms extend out to the sides. Palms might face down this time. And with the exhale, bring a bend back into your right knee and look over your right hand fingertips, extending in front of you, warrior two. Noticing your stance, how the hip comes in a little, see if that's comfortable. Can you draw the feet up towards each other a bit more? How is this position for you? Can you maintain focus and breath flowing? Ujjayi technique maybe. Breathing in. As you breathe out, take the left arm behind, right hand fingertips towards the back foot. I've risen the sole of the front foot into a flexion, leaning my nose towards the back knee. Ground your foot again, rise up, warrior two as you breathe in. On the exhale, maybe repeat, arm behind the back, hand towards knee or foot, nose towards the knee, flexion of the other. Grounding the foot down. Take a breath in, warrior two. On the exhale, take on Skandasana as you lean to the other leg. Let's do two more. Ground the foot, lift and extend. Inhaling, warrior two. Exhaling, you take on Skandasana. One last time, take a breath to come into a warrior two. On the out breath, a last round of Skandasana. Landing the front foot and walk your hands all the way, taking them outside and inside the foot as you lengthen your spine into a lunge. Stepping back for a downward facing dog, or come to all fours as we haven't practiced any of that yet before. So your choice, all four stands, few rounds of cat and cow, or a downward facing dog. If you're with that, roll the spine forward, breathe in, find plank or kneeling plank position. On your out breath, then lower onto the mat. Ground through the tops of the feet and take a breath to lift your heart. Find a cobra, hold the cobra. Grounding down to the tops of the feet, the elbows are snug, the shoulders relaxed. Spine is working, heart is lifting. Take another breath. Wait for an out breath to surrender back onto the mat. Choose an inhale to come back up. And your choice now is to stay on all fours or draw the toes under and come to a downward facing dog. If you're choosing any of those positions, you might like to take them a bit out of alignment, get a swing into the hips, move your body. Then lifting your right leg up as you inhale. And with the exhale, stepping the right foot forward in between the hands. Come to your fingertips into a runner's lunge. Or place your back knee down to the mat, untuck the toes and lean your hips forward once more. For both variations, the option to raise your arms up as you inhale, lengthening through the body. So you might be standing, you might be kneeling. Let your shoulders be soft, the gaze may be lifted a little. Take a breath in. On the breath out, land your hands again either side of the foot. And even if your knee is off the mat, you might like to straighten the front leg and lower your nose towards the knee anyway. If you're on the ground, you might flex the foot again as you lift the sole of the foot off the mat. As we all bring the sole of the foot down, lifting the back leg, lengthening to runner's lunge. And with your out breath, stepping into a forward fold. Inhaling, half lift. Exhaling, fold again. And you might enjoy otherwise lifting with knees bent, rolling up through the spine again. Just taking your time as you curl up. Lift the shoulders, give them a gentle shrug when you arrive. Turning your palms forward as we return to the mountain. Next inhale, lifting both of the arms again, Urdhva Hastasana. Palms may touch as the knees soften, folding into forward bend or Uttanasana. With the inhale, come to a half lift. On the out breath now, stepping your right foot back. Again, please ground the heel. The heel might be in alignment with the other heel, but it's further out than its toes. Keeping the front foot as is, bring the hands between the feet and start to sway again and move. Again, this could be with the hands on the ground. It could be a free-flowing movement. Sometimes we're moving the feet as well. This is then to protect ourselves and perfectly fine to do. But when we collapse into this position, trying to bring the feet back into place, toes pointing forward as you relax your body, inhale. And with the out breath, roll up through the spine, coming from your center. Let your arms extend out to shoulder height as you inhale. And bring a bend into your front knee as you breathe out, finding your warrior two stance. So with the back heel a little bit further out, the side of the hip is lightly turned in. Shoulders, aim to soften them. Your feet are in a good position for the knees, try and pull them a little bit in. But maintain your gaze or drishti over the front hand fingertips. Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale here. As you exhale, you may lift the sole of the foot, your right arm behind, and move your left hand to the right foot or knee. Then breathe in, come back into Warrior 2. A breath out to return towards the Skandasana version. And we keep that going. Ground your foot. Inhale. Exhale. For 2 more, keep flowing. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more warrior here as you breathe in. 1 more Skandasana, breathing out. As you land the foot again, let your hands come around to frame the foot. Raise your back heel off the mat. You can choose again cat-cow if that's your position today, or stepping back for a downward facing dog from here. If you want to flow freely, this is a good time. Or rolling the spine forward as you inhale for plank or kneeling plank. And then breathing out, maybe landing again on the front of the body. Your choice to lift the head, the chest, maybe the hands, or even the feet. Finding length to the body and mindful what is right for your lower back, rather than following instructions. Taking them step by step and choosing your option. A breath in, a breath out to surrender to the floor. And inhale to come back to a seat, onto the knees. Either tuck the toes under or lift the knees off the ground, maybe staying on all fours. Find some movement again, down dog or all four stance. On your next inhale, let your left leg lift. On your out breath, bring the knee in and step or help the foot between the hands. You might have your knee on or off the mat, leaning the hips potentially a little forward, and also the option of lifting both arms up, finding a lunging position. Standing or kneeling, your choice. Maybe gaze is lifted. Inhaling. As you exhale, bring your hands down, and you might either straighten the leg and lower the nose towards the knee if the back knee is off the floor, or you may lift the sole of the foot and return to half Hanuman, half monkey god pose. As we allow length to come through the back of the leg. On the next breath in, please land the foot again, frame with your hands. The knee was on the mat, lifted, find length through the body. And then step to the front and bow down, forward fold. Finding you're rolling up through the spine or lifting from your feet. Give the shoulders another lift as you inhale and shrug them down. I don't think I've ever tried to mix up shoulders and knees, so that's new. How do we lift the knees and shrug them back and down? Oops. So finding your grounded stance here. Maybe a little bit of hip distance apart. If you have a block, this might come in handy. I will demonstrate that from my side. So I will place the block in a halfway up setting in front of me. For the inhale, let's lift the arms back up. For the out breath, soften the knees, bring hands down the midline, but towards your support. If you don't need the block or you're using other items, please feel free to do so. but fingertips on the floor might work for some as well. For this balance, we will raise the right leg up, but you can always tap the big toe to the floor instead. If you're lifting, allow the foot to be flexed so the toes can point towards the floor. Inhale, keeping your length. As you breathe out, touch the back knee towards the other. On the inhale, extend actively through spine and back leg. Exhale, touch the back knee. One more round. Take a breath in and lengthen. A breath out to touch the knee behind the other. Now please land the foot just behind and across. Sink down into your legs by bending both of your knees. Leaning towards the heel of the back foot. Take a breath in and lift your arms out and slide your left leg over your right. Hugging the legs together, keeping your big toe on the ground. Your left arm might cross underneath the right. A shoulder hug or a full beak if you choose. Maybe your elbows are slightly lifted. Finding a center gaze point for Garudasana, eagle pose. Take a breath in and lift your arms back out to the side. Landing your front foot back down and releasing your hands towards the block. As you find your length in the spine again, lifting your back leg straight up behind your back as you breathe in. And with the exhale, draw the knee up to the chest. Then land your foot next to the other. Maybe let go of your support and fold down all the way into a forward bend. Letting your body surrender down here. Out breath, roll the spine up slowly to stand. In breath, extend your whole body, Urdhva Hastasana. Touching the palms and softening the knees as you draw your hands down the midline, either fingertips back to block or floor. Finding once more the length of the spine here. Option to tap your left big toe behind or to lift the left leg. If you do, please flex the foot. Again, toes are facing to the mat. Inhale. On the exhale, touch the lifted knee to the back of the other. On the inhale, extend out from the sole of the foot, lengthen your spine. Exhale, knee touches behind the other. And one more round. Inhale to extend. Exhale, touch your knee. Then land the foot just crossed behind, bending both of your knees and lifting the arms up as you breathe in, out like wings. Sliding the front leg over the other. Big toe can stay on the ground or you may hug the legs in. It would now be the right arm crossing under the left for a hug, or to wind the arms for a beak, touching the palms. Elbows lightly lifted, but shoulders relaxed. Finding your eagle. When you next breathe in, lift your wings up again, landing your front foot, releasing the hands down to your support or the mat, and then lifting the leg up behind you again, right behind your back, leading with the sole of the foot, length of the spine, and then bring the knee to the chest as you breathe out. Land your foot next to the other, and return to Uttanasana, standing forward bend. You might by now find this forward fold much more easy than before. I will ask you now to have your block potentially behind you if you use it as a seated support. And step your right foot down, lower it in front of your seat or block. So if you like, this right foot can rest to the outside of the block or the hip. If that's too much, just keep the leg in front like in an easy pose. Your left knee might be facing upward. And if the foot is on the inside of the knee, this might give you some stability. If you prefer, you can take the foot to the outside of the leg as well. Keeping your knee up here, let's take a hold of it and lengthen through the spine on an in-breath. And then sliding your left hand fingertips and place them right behind your back. On your out-breath, then turn into a twist. You might like to close your eyes, and you could also choose to embrace the knee with the elbow, or take the elbow to the outside of the knee instead. Staying here and simply breathing in and out. As your next inhale, take your head to the front. And if you have stepped your foot over, you can bring the hands down on this side. If you haven't, please just change your legs. If you're with me, lift your hips up. Just swivel your feet, keep them in place, and you would find your knee lowering down on the left side now as you find your seat. And if you are coming all the way around, your right foot will be stepped over. If you've gotten lost in that transition, just changing sides will be good enough. I always like to play with that because it can be easy once we allow our minds to disengage with the movement. So once your left foot is over here, or step to the inside of the knee if you like the stability of it, bring the right hand fingertips behind your back and hold onto the knee to lift yourself up on the inhale, then turn into your twist on the exhale. Of course, can you change your elbow here in their positioning? Pausing within the twist, find your gaze point or drishti, and be present as you turn to the other side. Then next inhalation, bring the head forward and unravel your whole seated position, even removing the block, but you might like to keep that down by your side, as I prefer to offer variations for inversions. Now, before we invert, let your legs extend out on the mat. You might already have every item near you that you need for relaxation. With your next exhalation, then start to roll the spine down onto the ground. Block might be in reach. Arms can be relaxed. And we step the feet a little bit up towards our buttocks, finding the feet at about hip distance and the arms along the side of the body. With your next breath in, squeeze your back down onto the mat, pelvic tilt. With the out breath, let your hips lift all the way into a bridge. Holding the bridge as you draw the tail up towards the backs of the knees. An option there to raise the right leg up. And place your ankle to the thigh, letting the knee fall open. If that's okay, roll the spine down on your next out breath. Breathe in to open both arms out to the sides. And then let your knees fall to the right, and you might keep your foot up there to guide a deeper inward rotation in your left hip. Gaze could be turned away or even to the same side. Allowing yourself to take a few more breaths in this twist. And let your right foot slide to the mat and center yourself, even realigning your arms along the side of the body. Your spine aligned, the feet stepped up to the bottom, hip distance. And as you breathe in, press the spine again into the mat with your pelvic tilt. Then squeeze your bottom as you breathe out and raise the hips back up, drawing the tail again towards the backs of the knees. If that feels right for you, extending your left leg up and placing the ankle to the thigh while letting the knee fall out and keeping a lift in the hips. Rolling your spine down onto the floor as you breathe out. Inhale to open both arms. And exhale, letting your knees roll to the left. Again, your foot may rest upon the knee, and you could choose to turn your head in a direction. A few deeper breaths here. And you might like to let your left foot come to the mat before taking your knees back into center, arms back along the side of the body. You might have your block ready if you like it. Any of you having good sensations in the body, the neck, the shoulders are happy. And if you have a shoulder stand or Salamba Savangasana in your practice, you may lift your hips. But be mindful that the back of the neck remains away from the floor. If you're with me, press your spine back into the ground, breathing in. Squeeze your bottom up into the bridge, breathing out. And you might like to place your block underneath the sacrum, whether that's flat or in a higher position. I'll leave that up to you. So some might be in a shoulder stand right now. If you want to invert and you're with the block, maybe lifting one foot after the other before extending the legs upwards. The legs can be quite relaxed. The tilt here of my block is not quite right, so I will replace it. And with that, I can also let go of my arms, and you might choose to do a similar thing. Letting the weight drop into the ground. Your feet are elevated, whether that is supported or a full shoulder stand. You might start to flaunt the feet as you press the balls of the feet upwards and let your toes point downwards. You could also choose to look at that or close your eyes. If you're holding on to a block, please do hold on again. Then bend your knees. If you're in a shoulder stand, you might release your arms down and use your core strength. We'll also use the lower abs here as we tap one side toes and then the other down to release the whole feet back to the mat. The block's still under, squeeze your buttocks up as you breathe out, remove the block and gently let your spine roll back onto the floor. And this is where we all meet. I would encourage you to bring the hands underneath your buttocks, maybe even extend your legs out long. If it's right for you, draw the elbows under and find an unsupported bridge. You can lift your heart here, point your toes and look forward to the toes, or you might bring your chin up and guide the head backwards. Keep the lift of the heart, the pointing of the toes. Take a deep breath. In and out. And one more. And you might let your elbows slide out, bring the head back down, step a foot down, let the arms roll back out. And this might be your point where you drop straight into relaxation pose or shavasana. If you do need any other movements, feel free to apply them. And if you would like any support, blankets, bolsters, cushions, please hold and take that support as well. Finding yourself in a relaxed position where now you're letting go of sensations in the body. So it's recommended to have the legs either long or the feet out wide for a constructive rest with the knees falling inwards, so that the posture becomes really effortless. And there is a chance for you to tap a little bit deeper as you let go of the body and come to your higher self. The card that showed up for our practice today is from the Secret Language of Animals deck. And the animal that was showing here is the wild horse. It stands for freedom, sensitivity, spirit, and partnership. So the message of this card is merging the freedom of spirit with the groundedness of earth. Horse calls you into a woven expression of presence and power. Amidst the noise and pressures of the world around you, the message of horse is to trust the subtle feelings of your body in order to sense what is right and true. The key to knowing what to do next is found in combining your greater vision with quiet attention to this moment right here and here and here. Each step holds the potential for both simple connection and glorious miracles. Horse medicine helps you weave both together in the realization that in truth, they are one and the same. Miracles come in unexpected ways. As a higher intuitive being, you must find the balance between open-hearted connection and centered strength. Don't let yourself be pulled in directions that don't feel right deep inside. But likewise, don't allow your ambition to create separation between you and those who are intimately woven into your journey. The horse's greatest gift comes in the balance, in the partnership of head and heart. That's where we awaken spirit in our actions. So maybe this affirmation sits right and you would like to repeat it mentally. At one with the energy of my spirit, I am awake, in tune, inspired, and free. At one with the energy of my spirit, I am awake, in tune, inspired, and free. At one with the energy of my spirit, I am awake, in tune, inspired and free. I'd like it to rest, following your breath for a little bit longer. With your mind connected to your breath, keep that connection for a bit longer, but allow your breath to start deepening and begin to feel into that sensation, life force moving through you. As your breath deepens more and more, you might also like to begin some movements or stretches. When you are ready, you could roll over onto your side or sit up over the front of the body, joining me in a seated pose, maybe even bringing the hands into prayer position or Anjali Mudra in front of the chest. It's another opportunity for steady gaze or closure of the eyes. We complete our practice today with one chant of Om, the universal sound, focused by 3 shantis for peace. Let's breathe in for the Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Taking these balanced energies with us into a light bow to each other. Namaste.